the 6 recently discovered ancient tombs of famous kings around the world that shocked archaeologists. If you think that the legendary kings of history have been resting peacefully underground forever, think again. In just the past few years, archaeologists have announced a series of discoveries that have stunned the world. Ancient royal tombs belonging to rulers who once commanded entire civilizations have been uncovered after being buried for thousands of years. From the arid deserts of Egypt to the dense forests of China, from seemingly unremarkable hillsides to underground chambers hidden beneath modern cities, history is being unearthed. Layer by layer, the dust of time is being brushed away to reveal secrets never recorded in books. And here's the fascinating part. These aren't just ordinary tombs. Each discovery comes with its own gripping story. Some kings died young, but were buried in tombs more lavish than anyone could imagine. Others were murdered in brutal power struggles. Some tombs even contain mysterious objects with unknown purposes, puzzling experts and raising questions as if they came from another world. In this video, we'll turn the pages of forgotten history together, exploring 6 royal tombs that were only recently discovered. Let's find out what these ancient rulers left behind after thousands of years, and why the world is still in awe of them today. Let's begin this thrilling and unexpected journey into the past right now. The tomb of King Herod, the most brutal king in Jewish history. When it comes to the most controversial figures in Jewish history and the New Testament, King Herod undoubtedly ranks at the top. Some regard him as a brilliant architect. Others will never forget the horrifying crimes he committed. But one thing is certain. Herod was one of the most powerful rulers during the time of Jesus Christ. And just recently, after more than 3 decades of fruitless searching and excavation, his tomb has finally been discovered. Just hearing that gives you chills, doesn't it? A royal tomb lost for over 2,000 years, belonging to a man both revered and feared by history. The man who led this grueling quest was Professor Ehud Netzer, a veteran archaeologist from Hebrew University. He spent over 30 years of his life trying to answer one question: where was Herod buried? The answer, at last, was found at Herodium, a massive fortress built by Herod himself, located on a truncated cone-shaped hill about 2,460 feet above sea level, just a short distance from Jerusalem. Herodium wasn't just a military structure. It stood as a symbol of Herod's power, pride, and unyielding ambition. It was here that he chose to be laid to rest, a decision that perfectly reflected his controlling nature and desire for immortality. During the excavation at this site, the research team uncovered a limestone sarcophagus. Although it had been shattered into many pieces, experts estimate it was originally about 8.2 feet long. On the fragments, they found intricately carved rosettes, suggesting that whoever was buried inside was no ordinary person, but a ruler of immense power and extravagant taste, all matching the description given by the historian Josephus Flavius in his writings about Herod's tomb. But the discoveries didn't stop there. Archaeologists also uncovered an ancient staircase, which may have served as a ceremonial passage used specifically for Herod's funeral procession. This too aligns with ancient records, a rare moment when modern archaeology and historical texts confirm each other. Of course, one major disappointment remains. No human remains were found in the area. According to Professor Netzer, the bones and important artifacts were likely destroyed or removed during the Jewish revolts against Roman rule in the mid-1st century. Still, even though the tomb is no longer intact, the remaining evidence is a priceless treasure, one that opens a rare window into the life of a ruler both mighty and terrifying. It would be impossible to talk about Herod without mentioning his brutality. He reigned from 37 to 4 BCE, and while he's remembered for grand projects like the Herodian Temple in Jerusalem, he also left the world horrified by his cruelty. According to the New Testament, it was Herod who ordered the massacre of innocent children in an attempt to eliminate a prophesied new king, Jesus Christ. At the height of his power, Herod embodied both glory and terror. His name stands as a symbol of contradiction, greatness intertwined with cruelty. And now the discovery of his long-lost tomb gives us a rare chance to look deeper into the man behind the infamous name. So, what do you think about this discovery? If you had the chance to step inside King Herod's tomb, what would you want to find first? A trove of gold and silver, ancient paintings, or perhaps the final confession of one of history's most ruthless kings? And 1,800-year-old underground palace of a Han Dynasty emperor stuns the scientific world. Have you ever imagined that buried deep beneath the ground, several feet below the surface, in the heart of Henan Province, China, there could exist an underground palace built exclusively for an emperor who died nearly 2,000 years ago? Sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But no, this is a 100% real archaeological discovery, all uncovered thanks to what seemed like an unremarkable ceramic pot. Specifically, it was a ceramic artifact measuring about 24 inches in diameter and 10 inches deep. At first glance, it looked plain and ordinary, but inside were mysterious inscriptions that revealed the name of an ancient ruler, Liu Ji, also known as Emperor Huan of Han, who reigned during the 2nd century AD. This wasn't just a single tomb. It was part of a massive burial complex containing over 100 tombs, arranged like a miniature city, a true palace of the dead, in every sense of the word. Dr. Wang Xianqiu, the lead archaeologist from the Luoyang Institute of Cultural Relics and Archaeology, explained that by comparing the ceramic vessel with ancient texts and surrounding artifacts, the research team reached a solid conclusion. This was indeed the final resting place of a real emperor, none other than Emperor Huan of Han, who died young at just 35 years old. But what's even more astonishing is how the ancient people designed his burial site. This was no ordinary tomb. The site includes residences, roads, water wells, and even a drainage system, a clear sign of the meticulous planning and grand scale of the entire complex. It wasn't just a burial ground, it was a fully recreated underground version of palace life, where the emperor could continue to be served just as he was in life. At first glance, it might sound a little eerie, but in reality, this was a common funerary custom in ancient China, especially among royalty. Servants, guards, concubines, all had their own tombs within the complex, arranged as if they were still on duty for the emperor, even long after his passing. What's fascinating is that this underground palace wasn't built by Emperor Huan himself during his lifetime. It's believed to have been constructed by his successor as a way to honor and memorialize the late emperor. The mysterious tomb of the heavenly king of the Northern Zhou Dynasty, China. Have you ever heard of the name Wu Wenjue? It might sound unfamiliar, right? But actually, this was the birth name of Emperor Xiaomin, the founding emperor of the Northern Zhou Dynasty, a dynasty that once dominated China during the period of the Northern and Southern dynasties. And recently, an extremely important archaeological discovery has been revealed, one that has shocked historians studying Chinese history. The tomb of this emperor was just found in Hanyang City, Shanxi Province, China. Sounds fascinating already, doesn't it? In the middle of an area near the airport highway, seemingly nothing but concrete and busy traffic, archaeologists uncovered about 482 feet moat leading directly to a tomb aligned precisely along a north-south axis, strictly following ancient feng shui principles. The bottom of the tomb is about 33 feet deep, forming a dark, cold, and mysterious space, as if it's tightly guarding a piece of history that has never been fully told. During the excavation, archaeologists discovered a series of funerary objects, though sadly most had been disturbed over time or by human activity. These included pottery vessels, statues of soldiers, cavalry units, and even a camel statue, likely symbolizing the legendary Silk Road. There were also strange creatures whose identities remain unknown. But what truly made archaeologists celebrate was a small yet invaluable detail, an inscription found inside the tomb bearing the name Wu Wenjue. This was the key to confirming that the tomb belongs to Emperor Xiaomin, the first emperor of the Northern Zhou Dynasty. According to the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, this is only the second tomb of a Northern Zhou emperor ever discovered, the first being the tomb of Emperor Wu, making this find even more significant. So why is this emperor so noteworthy? Emperor Xiaomin ascended the throne at just 15 years old. Strangely, instead of calling himself emperor, he chose the title Heavenly King. This was a bold and unique decision, reflecting a shift in political ideology and thought during that era. However, life was far from ideal. His reign lasted less than a year before he was deposed and assassinated. Some historians believe he was merely a pawn controlled by a stronger political faction, led by his successor, Emperor Wu. Thus, his death was not only a personal tragedy, but also marked a turbulent, scheming period in Northern Zhou history. the 3,000-year-old tomb of King Solomon that terrifies experts. Have you ever imagined that, deep in the heart of Jerusalem, hidden beneath the dust of time, there might still be a secret thousands of years old that no one expected? A place mentioned for centuries in the Bible, in legends, and in stories passed down through generations. The tomb of the legendary King Solomon. Yes, this is no joke. Recently, a group of archaeologists in Israel announced they have identified a suspicious site that could very well be the final resting place of this great king, lost for more than 3,000 years. Anyone familiar with King Solomon knows he was not only a brilliant leader, but also a symbol of wisdom and justice. His wise decisions, clever handling of disputes, and especially the legendary temple he built, a meeting place between the divine and humanity, have made his name transcend time and become deeply etched into the history of Israel. But for thousands of years, Solomon's tomb was nothing more than a legend. If it really existed, it was just another story without a clear ending. That is, until a research team led by Dr. Eilat Mazar from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem made a shocking announcement. They had found evidence of Solomon's tomb right in the city of David, the birthplace of ancient Jerusalem's history. What makes this discovery even more remarkable is that this is not Dr. Mazar's first time stirring up the archaeology world. Since 1986, she discovered a large gateway at the Ophel area, about 490 feet from the city of David. Back then, the evidence wasn't strong enough to say it belonged to Solomon. But when she resumed excavations in 2009, what lay deep underground revealed a completely different truth. They uncovered a massive wall nearly 2,100 feet long, ominously named the Tombs of the Kings, already sending chills down the spine. The structure includes a gateway, corner towers, and what is believed to be part of a royal palace. Its enormous scale made archaeologists wonder, could this be part of the ancient temple or palace built by Solomon himself? To answer that, experts conducted radiocarbon dating tests, which confirm that these structures date back to the 10th century BC, a perfect match with Solomon's reign. According to biblical descriptions, this was also the period when he undertook major building projects in Jerusalem. The deeper they dug, the more surprises came. They found huge ancient jars, once used to store soil or water, one of which bore an inscription in ancient Hebrew indicating it belonged to a high-ranking official. Beyond that, there were small statues and jar handles with marks directly linked to King Solomon, valuable puzzle pieces helping reconstruct a historical picture once thought to exist only in books. However, the big question remains, is this really the final resting place of King Solomon? Dr. Mazar explains that in the 10th century BC, very few kings had the power and resources to build structures of this magnitude, except for David or Solomon, as recorded in the Bible. And here's another key point. The city of David isn't just where this groundbreaking discovery happened. It's one of Jerusalem's most historically rich areas, a political, religious, and military center of the ancient kingdom of Israel. The ruins here have been helping scientists vividly recreate the golden era of the Bronze and Iron Ages for this kingdom. So, what do you think? Are we standing on the edge of one of the greatest secrets in Jewish and Christian history? Could King Solomon's tomb be more than a legend, finally emerging after millennia buried by time? And if you had the chance to see King Solomon's tomb in person, what would you most want to discover inside? Would it be a vast treasure, a religious secret, or something even more astonishing? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can discuss together. The most luxurious tomb of Pharaoh, Seti I, a masterpiece of ancient Egyptian art, underground. If you think of ancient Egypt and only picture mummies and pyramids, you've probably only seen the tip of the iceberg. Why do I say that? Because deep underground, beneath the blazing desert sun of Luxor in southern Egypt, lies a place called the Valley of the Kings. This is not just a tourist spot, it's one of the greatest archaeological treasures, holding the legacy of a legendary civilization. Among dozens of pharaohs' tombs discovered here, the tomb of Pharaoh Seti I, designated Kfev 17, is considered the ultimate underground palace, the most lavish and magnificent tomb in ancient Egyptian history. Pharaoh Seti I, also known as Menmatra Seti I, was one of the most prominent kings of the New Kingdom period, the Golden Age of Egypt that lasted from the 16th to the 11th century BC. Though he reigned for only about 12 to 15 years, From 1294 to 1279 BC, he laid a strong foundation for his successor, Pharaoh Ramesses II, one of ancient Egypt's greatest rulers. Seti I's tomb was discovered by the Italian archaeologist Giovanni Battista Belzoni on October 16, 1817. When he opened the gate leading underground, before his eyes stretched a labyrinth 450 feet long, the longest tomb in the Valley of the Kings, with hand-painted murals so vibrant and intact they looked as if painted yesterday. Inside the tomb are 17 large and small chambers, with walls and ceilings covered in mythological scenes depicting daily life in ancient Egypt, religious rituals, and sacred symbols. Notably, the burial chamber features the first vaulted ceiling ever built in an Egyptian tomb, a major architectural breakthrough of the time. However, the tomb's fate has been far from peaceful. After its discovery, it suffered numerous invasions by expeditions, study, and vandalism. Between 1828 and 1829, the French archaeologist Napoleon removed several wall sections and transported them to Europe. The decorative ceilings, columns, and reliefs, once the pinnacle of ancient artistry, were displaced and shattered. Today, these precious fragments are displayed scattered across the world in places like Berlin, Germany, Paris, France, Florence, Italy, and London. Pharaoh Seti I's original sarcophagus, made of alabaster and intricately carved with spells and protective symbols, was taken to England in the 1820s. It now rests in the basement of the Sir John Soane Museum in London, where it's open free to the public. What's special is that Seti I's tomb is still open to visitors, but not everyone can enter easily. Admission to the Valley of the Kings is about $13 and allows access to 3 common tombs. But if you want to step inside KV-17, the tomb of Seti I, you'll have to pay an extra $45. Trust me, every penny is worth it. Just one step inside, and you'll feel yourself drifting back 3,000 years in time, witnessing firsthand the splendor, sophistication, and mystery of a civilization that once was the center of the ancient world. The tomb of Emperor Napoleon, a silent majesty in the heart of Paris. In the lavish heart of Paris, where people are often captivated by the Eiffel Tower or strolling along the Seine River, there stands a monument that embodies both power and the painful memories of war. The Invalides, the final resting place of Napoleon Bonaparte, the great emperor of France. When hearing about Napoleon's tomb, many might imagine a lavish, extravagant structure rivaling legendary tombs like that of Qin Shi Huang. But no, Napoleon chose a resting place that is both simple and elegant, enough to express imperial dignity, yet imbued with the disciplined spirit of a seasoned military leader. The Invalides was originally built in the 1670s as a hospital and residence for war veterans under King Louis XIV. Over 3 centuries later, it is transformed into a grand military history museum and a memorial honoring generations of French soldiers who fought for their country. This vast complex still includes a functioning hospital for veterans, a testament to Invalides' enduring connection to the military, from past to present. From above, you can see rows of buildings arranged perpendicularly, forming a unique east-west symmetry. This design not only creates architectural harmony, but also forms 15 small garden courtyards, adding to the serene and contemplative atmosphere. Going deeper inside, to the south lies the Saint Louis des Invalides Church, which hosts royal ceremonies and serves as the main church of the French military. Its dome, gilded with over 22 pounds of gold, sparkles brilliantly under the Parisian sun, resembling a giant crown resting in the heart of Europe. The dome rises more than 100 feet high, standing as one of France's most impressive examples of classical architecture. Crossing the Esplanade des Invalides, a grassy expanse stretching more than 1,600 feet, you finally reach Napoleon I's tomb, the soul of the entire Invalides complex. His tomb lies at the center of a grand circular crypt, designed with solemn dignity. The coffin, carved from red quartzite, is shaped like a stylized saddle, symbolizing the fierce warrior spirit. Surrounding it are 12 statues of women wearing laurel wreaths, representing the 12 great victories the emperor achieved during his European campaigns. Moreover, engraved on the marble floor around the tomb are the names of 8 significant battles: Rivoli, Pyramides, Marengo, Austerlitz, among others, like a stone epic recounting the era when Napoleon dominated the continent. But Napoleon isn't alone here. The crypt is also the resting place for many legendary generals and French heroes from World War I and World War II. Notably, at the far end of the crypt stands an 8.7 feet tall statue of Napoleon II, carved from white marble. His right hand holds a scepter topped with an eagle, while his left hand holds a globe crowned with a crown, a symbolic image of the Bonaparte family's global ambition and authority. Don't forget to visit the Army Museum and the Plans Reliefs Museum right next door. Since 1905, these museums have displayed over 500,000 artifacts, including more than 100 scale models of fortresses and forts, providing an authentic perspective on the wars that shaped modern France. And as you can see, although Napoleon has rested here for over 200 years, he remains a living part of Paris, not just through statues and monuments, but also through the layers of history that continue to fascinate and inspire visitors. As you can see, these newly discovered royal tombs are not only remnants of a bygone era, but also gateways to countless unanswered questions. Every artifact, every carved wall, every mysterious corner tells us a story about power, faith, and death. And you know what? History is never truly at rest. It's always waiting to be uncovered. If you get chills thinking about the secrets buried beneath the ground, don't forget to share your thoughts below. And be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our exciting exploration videos, because there are still many mysteries waiting for us to discover. For now, goodbye and see you next time.